Howdy doody, ladies and gents. It's time for part 3 of this daily, where I am being guided by the wonderful community. You are just typing all sorts of things in the chat that I'm using for as a springboard for a lot of what I'm saying in the game. And there were some interesting questions in the chat beforehand. There was a really good one that I saw. There it is, from Melted Igloo, who asked how a Terran can scout effectively against a Zerg when they can hide tech anywhere on the creep. The big thing for Terran, in order to do this, is to hit at really key timings before anything notable can pop up. I think probably the biggest one is doing an attack at 9:30 or 10 minutes. This is before any layer tech can kick into gear. No Mutalisks, no Infestors, no Speed Roaches, Speed Banelings. Everything's slow. This is why we have those critical attack timings where players are doing things like pushing in this game. All Marines with Stim, Hellions, Medivacs. Worst case scenario, he is completely defended, and I just lift up into my Medivacs and go home. But all the rest of the time, I'm up against a bunch of slow units, and I can just micro really, really nicely. We see Marine King Prime do Marine Marauder pushes off 5 barracks right around 9:30-ish. Works out really nicely. But the most important thing is that you don't need to scout as much. If you feel yourself holed up in your base and you're worried about what on earth he can be doing, the answer is probably that you aren't attacking enough. And you should have been attacking earlier. So there's nothing you can fix in this game. You have to fix stuff in the next game, where you just want to look at when you are attacking. Oh, I was moving out around 15 minutes. Let me try to move that up to 14. Or let me try to hit that 9:30 timing and then do another push at 14, 15, 16. Something like that. I'll also note that there's... Hellions really cover a lot of bases. A lot of times when you just get Hellions at the start of the game, you'll see all the tech that he could ever be making, and that's how you scout. He brings it to the front. I like that one. Yeah, Terran just needs to attack. And now that we're here at 22 minutes, and we've just been dealing with some aggressive harassment. Depleted. Again, the last time I cleaned up an attack was around 21:30 or 22 minutes. I would anticipate the next big push to happen 24 and a half minutes. That's what Spider Sense tells me, because this matchup tends to happen in rounds of 2. I see no issue with just sitting here defending on all our bases at this point in time. There's no reason to attack. Why? Because we just killed off his 4th base. We still have about another 90 seconds till generally he can do another big push. So it looks like he did a much smaller push. This is why people tend to wait about 2 minutes. Because if we push with half an army, we'll get crushed. Okay, we just cleaned it up. When's the next time we're going to expect to push? Like 25 and a half. After every push, when we're starting to feel safe, ideally we would do this within each push. Like ideally 30 seconds ago when all this stuff was going on, we would check here. You never want to be that after the fact guy. You don't want to be the after the fact guy. You might not know what that means, but this is one of those, I just got in a huge battle and I barely came out ahead. Oh yeah, I probably should have been macroing during that battle. Now I'll macro. Or you don't want to be that guy where in the middle of the huge attack at your front, you hold it off and then you think, oh yeah, I had a dropship over in the corner, let me go ahead and drop his base. You don't want to be the after the fact guy. You want to be the in the moment guy, right? You want to just do this sort of stuff when you are most distracted. This is actually a habit that a lot of pros get in. The instant a big battle happens, the first thing they check is where they should scout for expansions and if they should do a drop. Like every single time they get into a huge engagement. It's actually funny. I'd probably say that like the mid and high Grand Masters, like the people who aren't quite in those super GSL positions, oftentimes they spend a little bit too much weight focusing on the minimap and like trying to do these sorts of big expo type things, or expo coverage. And the real super code Sers are the ones who know exactly how much to drop in the midst of those battles. Another cool little play there by LiquidRet. Still not really expecting a push till 25 minutes. I've already established that. Right when pushes die, that's when I want to be building Corruptors, because a Corruptor takes 40 seconds to build. Broodlords take another 40-ish seconds to build. It's about 2 minutes. Don't shoot your own corruptors with a corruptor. But it takes about 2 minutes to replenish broodlords. If you're in a lot of crazy trades and it's feeling kind of crazy and dynamic, I generally don't like building corruptors. That's just totally sweet, getting 206 of 200. But right about now is when I'm expecting the push to be starting, because it was 2 minutes afterwards. In the everyman cam, hey-oh, looks like he has a huge army. And looks like, yeah, he's going to be waiting for about another 30 seconds. Until he can keep producing those big rounds. So now I'm in LiquidRet's position. I have been up against this sort of crazy dropping, crazy aggression. Once I get all these spine crawlers up, this main needs a lot of spines right now. Once those pop up, I'm going to try to be pushing a base. Which one do I push? With a slow army, just push whatever's closest. These broodlords are headed up this flank. I would probably pull them down here and then move them up along this way, just so they have these areas to be protected from. This is a little bit wide of a space. The corruptors, I'm probably going to have poaching farther to the bottom right to catch a drop, because this top left is protected.
Our forces are under attack.
But an army like this is just really good, so we're going to go ahead and float to our expansion, and now is about when Terran should be thinking about moving out, and it looks like, where is his army at? Is this it? Was there a skirmish here that I missed? Whatever. Screw it! I don't care. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. You know, there's a question that actually is just popping up right now from Nildawen, saying that, you know, Ret's play seems to be focused on staying in his base until it's push time. That's something I call an optical illusion. It is a true statement that he did not leave his base until basically now, but that's not exactly the overarching game plan of LiquidRet from start to finish. It all relates around to when these big attack timings are coming. Since 16-17 minutes, it's just been attack, 2 minutes pass, attack, 2.5 minutes pass, attack, 2 minutes pass, attack. And we're seeing Ret get hurt to the point in these attacks where he actually needs 2 minutes to rebuild his force together. So in reality, if LiquidRet was, let's actually pop back to here, 22 minutes. Ret would really love to begin pushing with this force. He would really love to. This is, you know, a little bit vulnerable. Actually, I'm going to even move back to an earlier moment in gameplay. All right, here. Yeah, excellent. We saw Ret doing this kind of nice counterattack, picking off this fourth base. We're at the 20-minute mark. Ret, if this attack isn't coming, is really going to begin kicking into high gear. In that unit station, just has the 11 corruptors, 5 broodlords back here, just defended against a drop. It's because these were so damaging that it delayed Ret again and again and again and again and again and again. And even up here at the 23-minute mark when this big push was coming, even though it totally flubbed. Where's the 23-minute push? Totally flubbed. 23-minute push. Even though this totally was awful for Terran, still did some damage, picked off some of our Zerglings. We lost some stuff in the back of the base due to these drops. That's why we have some bleeding geysers with no drones.
Mutation.
But I don't want you to think of it as just this passivity until everything, or until he hit 26 minutes and had 5 bases. LiquidRet was going to move out to strike anytime he started to have a comfortable broodlord count and Braddock started to become passive, because all this is tied to the fact that there is this fourth base right there, juicily ready for us to shut down. So, in this sort of engagement, things are going well. If this engagement is going well, I'm going to replenish with Corruptors and get more Broodlords. Or build Ultralisks or something like that. If this attack's going poorly, it's going to be just straight Ultra Lane. Maybe some Infestors in there. Ret's building Zerglings sort of for a tipping blow, but if this is going really badly and he's probably going to counter us soon, we have to be careful not to go too nuts with these Corruptors. LiquidRet's morphing in. Broodlords, all's good. Morphing in Broodlords because things are going well. Broodlords, you can't start to get Broodlords if you're on the verge of death.
Mineral
So if this attack got just absolutely bear mauled, the biggest mistake you can make is to build those corruptors. You have to first build back up the Infestor, Ultralisk, Lane Count, and then begin getting Broodlords. And then this is just sort of easy peasy cleanup. Nice solid control and play and all that good jazz, and LiquidRet is a true badass.
mineral field.
Oh yeah. Oh, LiquidRet. Oh, a drop? I think not. You're getting poked to death. I'm not doing commentary. I'm just being awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Wow, did this camera angle get intimate? Hey. Hey. What's up, guys? Who are you? Alright, let's get back to that daily angle. I'm going to sit up straight. Yes. Yes. Lovely. Let's take some questions. The question grabber. F5 in it. F5 in it. Aha. Think says, Day 9, you mentioned mixing in Ultras in the late game mix rather than Infestor Broodlord. Is there any other good Zerg unit late game compositions, like maybe going Ultra Hydra or other tactics? I will say that the one thing that is always lacking in the late game from Zergs is drop. If you go to the MLG Columbus Open Winners Bracket Round 5, Game 2 on Antigua Shipyard between Liquid Sheth and TSL Pult, Sheth starts in the bottom left, Pult in the bottom right. Pult powers up a huge army, and Sheth just drops the back of his main base and just starts killing everything. If we even come back to this game and just look at any arbitrary point, I'm going to say 22 minutes. Let's hop back into the game. Yeah, at the 22-minute mark, this main is just ripe for the taking. Wow, that's some pretty nice supply depot placement from the Terran player. Most at the front and at the natural. But still, if you just drop in here, even on 3 bases, Terran is going to have to pull all the way back into his main, and then you can just slide on into this backside. Hell, even have just 2 Infestors, swing on in, fungal twice, see you later. And of course, the same goes for the Nidus network, taking the islands on this map specifically, but also Nidus warming right into the back of the main. Hydras are something that I'm starting to see trickle in every now and again, because the late game Terran mixture is weirdly not as great against Hydralisks. You have a lot of sort of Marine, Marauder, and Marine Marauder are good against Hydras, but only in small numbers. Once you start to get to big numbers, where the Hydras are hard to hit, if you fungal growth a bunch of Marines, Hydralisks outrange Marines, so you can take them down quite quickly. Marauders are almost negligible against Hydralisks in large numbers. But I just haven't seen it experimented with that much. The Ultralisks are good at absorbing the tank damage. I have no idea. That might actually be one of the best late game mixtures. I know that Hydras are popping up in late game Zerg vs Protoss quite a bit more, just because of how ridiculously damage dealing they are. But I would love to see it more in the matchup. I actually just don't have that much more to say on it. Alright, Illusion1989 says, Day 9, what is the best way to kill a big Broodlord army as a Terran? Interestingly, I have 2 answers. The not interesting answer is getting a lot of ghosts, getting a lot of Vikings, pretty normal kinds of things. We've seen the ghosts actually get phased out of the matchup, and instead Thor Viking is starting to get more phased in. Just the sort of direct things to deal with it. But the more interesting answer is that the best way to deal with Broodlord armies is not so much how to kill the Broodlord, it's how to kill the non-Broodlord component. What does his non-Broodlord mix look like? Is it almost all Infestors? Is it mainly Zerglings with a couple of Infestors? That's the more important aspect. And this is where we see TSL Polt doing things like getting a couple of Marauders and Marines and keeping all his tanks unsieged. Wow, that's a really weird solution. Unsieged tanks are surprisingly good against that Infestor Broodlord, or against the non-Broodlord component of Infestor Broodlord mixtures. The tanks rushing up, picking off the Infestors. Tanks have very long unsieged range, so you can pick the Infestors off quite nicely. And then, once you've killed off the ground part, no matter what you have, Vikings, Thors, small amounts of Marines, you can run underneath the Broodlords and kill them. Don't focus too much on the Broodlords, is really the message that players like Polt are starting to communicate more and more with their play. So that's kind of cool. Because if you think about it, if you build a lot of Marines and a lot of Vikings, Zergs are ready for that. Zergs will be prepared to fungal growth all your Marines, or fungal and then corrupt all your Vikings. But if you have killed off all the Infestors in the Marine, or in the Zerglings underneath, the Marines are going to be pretty damn good. I'm actually just going to take one more. I am going to take this from I'm Fun Toys. Have you seen the GLHF magazine? What are your thoughts on it? It is amazing. Let me actually see if I can. GLHFmag.com. For any of you who have not seen issue 1 of GLHF magazine, if you go to glhfmag.com, you will just get this incredible, ridiculously incredible magazine. There's just like so much content and like these amazing photos. Home story cut, real versus sounds, a little bit about looked no hands, Pete mode, what that's like, some StarCraft tools, articles of StarCraft as an esport. Look at this, we got some interviews, we got some more stuff in languages that I will never be able to speak ever. Oh! Doesn't it just look pretty? I'm super proud of the StarCraft community for just doing that. To all of you at GLHF Mag, super mega bravo. You guys are awesome. And that's going to wrap up this daily for the day. I'll be honest, I might end up doing this sort of structure for the daily tomorrow and Thursday as well, because I'm just too burnt out, and I'm sorry. I hope the daily went well, and I really appreciate, as usual, all your wonderful support and help throughout. Please come to Red Bull Battlegrounds in Austin, Texas. That's May 25th, 26th, 27th. Carpool your way out and make sure to grab tickets as soon as possible, because it is a ticketed event, as in there's limited seating. It's, standard price like anything else, but I just don't want you to show up being like, I'll just grab it at the door, and then they're like, there's no space, and you're like, cram me in, I want to be a fire hazard, and they're like, there's no seat for fire hazards. That would be bad. So please come out to that, and of course come to Ventura, California this weekend to Green Forest Land Cafe in Ventura, where I'll be casting. And that's it. Bye. Thank you. Cheers.